To Fonterra straight away. The chair of the Shareholders Council admits there is frustration over the dairy giant's volatile earnings and substance to a government minister's claims that the board is out of touch. Duncan Coull is responding to criticism from the Regional Development Minister Shane Jones, who's calling on Chairman John Wilson to step down, citing what he calls an absolute absence of accountability. Speaking on behalf of shareholders, Duncan Coull says New Zealand's largest company could do better.
We have 10,500 shareholders up and down the countries, all who operate their own independent businesses, who are in different stages of their life cycle, have different ownership models, have different size farms, and so within that you're always going to have some diversity in terms of the thought and feeling towards the business they own. But I think there's some frustration out there, let's be honest. Whilst we're in a really strong milk price environment, our earnings haven't been that great of late, and a lot of volatility in the earnings, and it's just causing some frustration. But overall, I was at the field days yesterday and spent the day in the tent and talked to many farmers, and the mood was very positive.
And what the negative parts of this, those who are a bit upset about what's going on at the top, what specific complaints are you hearing?
I don't know about specific complaints. I didn't have any specific complaints yesterday, but I think that there's a frustration within some of our shareholders as to the reliability of earnings and in terms of return on investment into the shares that they own in their cooperative. But there's also some within the cooperative that just from time to time feel as though they are just missing that sort of sense of belonging to the business they own. So it's something that as a council we're very focused on and looking to ensure that as a cooperative owned by its farmers, we're constantly working on ensuring that we keep well connected with our owners. So it's not about communication per se, but making sure that we communicate in a way that resonates with those that are the audience.
And of course, the company has to be very careful about how it invests its money. There's the concerns about the investment in the Chinese cooperative being mate, that going sour. There are other concerns about the way the company is investing funds?
No, I think that's probably been the headline this year. But I think the other thing being is that what tends to happen is when our milk price increases, and we've got a lot of volatility in the global market, and when our milk price increases, that puts pressure on the dividend stream, and so there's some frustration from that from time to time. But on the whole, most farmers look at the total shareholder return, and so they look at the milk price and dividend. They add those two together and say, well, am I doing okay? And right now, most of them would suggest to me that we're doing okay.
Now, have you talked to John Wilson? This is the chair of Fonterra. There's the claim, of course, that he's disconnected from farmers. Have you had any words with him?
No, well, this claim that you're referring to was something that was in the news yesterday, and I was at the field days yesterday, as was the chairman. But no, I haven't had any discussions with him on that. I guess people are entitled to their views. We live in a democracy, and it's just the way it is from time to time.
It certainly was unsettling for some when Shane Jones waded into Air New Zealand and its operations. Do you feel the same way when the words are aimed at Fonterra in such a way that the chair should take the next cab out of town?
Oh, look, that doesn't concern myself a great deal. I take greater notice of the concerns that are read by my shareholders who I represent. That said, Fonterra, being New Zealand's largest company owned by its farmers, represents a good portion of our GDP. It needs to ensure that it has strong relationships, and we have a strong working relationship with our government. We export 95% of what we produce, so that would be the thing that would concern me. But outside that, I guess people are entitled to views.
There's a broad range of views. You're saying some positive, some negative. It seems that, reading about one of them who commented that, well, it's no one in particular that they have concerns with on the board or in the company, but there's a general mood that it could do better. How do you think the board could be more connected to farmers?
I think farmers being business people would suggest that a great way to connect would be ensuring that their cooperative performs, but just needs to ensure that communication is open, transparent, and in a timely fashion. So, and on the whole, I think it's doing okay, but I think we all need to challenge ourselves as to what we can do better, and that's what they should be doing.
Duncan Coull there on behalf of the shareholders of Fonterra, giving a mixed report card, saying they could do better, they should communicate better, did want to distance himself or stay at arm's length from Shane Jones' comments that the chair should take the next cab out of town. We will have more, hopefully, from the company in the next day or so.